Tonight, the State Parole Board is responding to demands from Governor Ivey. The governor issued an executive order back in October demanding the board stop early parole hearings and make organizational changes. It came after a series of Way 31 I-Team reports detailing how a career criminal was released from prison early only to be charged with a triple murder. The governor did not like their first response, issued a scathing review in response, and tonight the board has addressed her concerns. Way 31's Cody Fisher live tonight to explain what exactly they are. Cody.
Bill, this exchange with the governor is much more detailed than the first. It's a full 16 pages detailing changes that were already being made before the executive order from the governor. And the tone of this document is much different as well, at times directly disagreeing with suggestions from the governor, and at other times blaming major problems on things such as a bad receptionist, a bad phone number on the website for the parole board, and at times flat out not knowing that there was problems to begin with. The Alabama Parole Board now says prisoners will only be able to get a maximum of 3 years shaved off their sentence if they are paroled. In touting executive leadership within the agency and disagreeing with the governor's opinion that changes may need to be made at the top, the board says this is one of several changes already in place before her executive order. At least one review committee panel member is required to have 5 years of experience. The panels decide whether or not prisoners can be paroled. A prisoner now must also serve at least 5 years before being eligible for parole, have no discipline problems in the last 3 years, get a positive report from a corrections officer, and get a letter of support from a prosecutor, judge, attorney general, law enforcement officer, or victim, just to be eligible for release. The parole board will also create an email notification network to let law enforcement agencies across the state know when someone violates parole and needs to be arrested. The board is also going to train the Victims Service Unit so it can better deal with victims who become angry or start cursing. The board says sometimes these victims become angry that they've been tracked down, even though the state requires it. The board requests this unit have an additional manager. The board will use victims to train employees and says it got rid of a receptionist who may have been rude in the past. The board admitted some failures that have made the process difficult, like a wrong telephone number on the agency's website on an official letterhead. That number has now been reinstated, and the board says it has made the menu easier to navigate when people call. The board says it will visit Georgia next year to learn about its automated system in preparing for parole hearings. That will cut down on human errors when putting information into a database. The parole board also says that stakeholders should not be making rules governing the board because of a potential bias, and that is something that the governor had mentioned in her response. Reporting live in Huntsville, Cody Fisher, Way 31 News.
And in Governor Ivey's original response to the board's corrective action plan, she questioned why they failed to address all the areas that she requested in her executive order. She gave them 30 days to update the plan. They issued their response within 24 hours of her deadline. She said their response will determine the next steps she takes. Right now, it's just a waiting game as the governor reviews this response. And if you'd like to see the entire document on the parole board, you can head over to WadeTV.com. Click on this story there on our homepage, and within the article, you'll see a link to click on, and it will take you to the entire document.